Today is Wednesday, October 5th. We'll tell you about the announcement today that might drive up gas prices and what the latest numbers say about today's job market. Also, new accusations and controversy surrounding one of the most closely watched Senate races in the country. Plus, another surprise turnaround from Elon Musk in his back-and-forth bid to buy Twitter, remembering a country music legend, and what a new report says each different generation values most at work. Those stories and more news to know in today's episode. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. So if you've enjoyed lower gas prices for the last couple of months, well, it's possible the price at the pump might be going back up again. The group of oil-producing nations across the world and their allies, including Russia, together known as OPEC+, have signaled they plan on significantly cutting back their oil production. The announcement is expected today. Reports say OPEC could possibly cut their output by 1 million or even up to 2 million barrels a day. And that would be the largest cut to oil production since the year 2020. And we could see a spike in gas prices because of it. The price of oil has already increased on the rumors alone. The White House is trying desperately to convince the leaders of OPEC to hold off on these cuts. With the midterm elections just a month away now, higher gas prices could turn off voters and hurt President Biden and Democrats' chances. That said, some experts don't think the potential cuts to oil production will be felt quite as much as others fear, saying a drop in global demand may offset a lower supply. So, to be continued. We just saw the biggest one-month drop in the number of job openings since the early days of the pandemic. Job openings fell by 10%, from about 11.2 million in July down to just over 10 million in August. Economists say it's a sign demand for workers, although still high, is slowing. And while not great for workers, it could mean inflation comes down. That's because for every one available worker, there were nearly 2 available jobs. The demand for workers led to higher salaries, and higher salaries meant people had more money to buy things, which then contributed to inflation. Experts say if the government can cool demand for new workers without causing a big spike in unemployment, we could avoid an economic recession, though it's still too early to know. The latest job numbers did help push Wall Street higher, though. The Dow gained more than 1,500 points over the last 2 days, and that's the biggest two-day increase in more than 2 years. As I mentioned earlier, we're just over a month away now from the midterm elections, and a closely watched race in Georgia is facing some new controversy. It started with a report in the Daily Beast saying the Republican nominee for U.S. Senate and former NFL player Herschel Walker paid his former girlfriend to have an abortion back in 2009. The report said the woman showed a receipt, a get-well card, and a check from Walker to back it up. If true, it would be a significant thing because Walker is so opposed to abortion. But Walker says he denies doing any of that in the strongest terms and threatened to sue the Daily Beast over this report. As for that check, he told Fox News he sends money to a lot of people because he believes in being generous. But the accusations don't stop there. Shortly after the story broke, Walker's son, Christian Walker, harshly criticized his father on social media. Christian has shown support for his dad in the past, but in a series of tweets, Walker's son called his dad a liar and a hypocrite, writing, quote, "You've lived a life of destroying other people's lives. How dare you?" He even said he and his mom have had to move to get away from his violence. Walker responded with a tweet that just said he loves his son no matter what. Top Republican groups are standing by Walker and are blaming Democrats and the media for this controversy. Looking at the average of the latest Real Clear Politics polls show that Walker's opponent, Democratic U.S. Senator Raphael Warnock, is ahead, but only by around 1 percentage point. The midterm elections are November 8th. So after months of a very public fight, it appears Elon Musk will buy Twitter after all, for the exact same price he originally offered, by the way, back in April. Remember, the Tesla CEO and richest man in the world signed a contract to buy Twitter for $44 billion. But then he wanted to back out, citing questions about how many accounts on the platform were bots. Twitter sued him over the summer to try and get him to go through with the deal anyway, and that trial was actually set to begin in about 2 weeks, though Musk had already faced some setbacks ahead of it, including the release of some personal text messages between him and other tech and media members. Well, now a legal filing shows Musk wrote a letter to Twitter to reveal the surprise turnaround that he is willing to buy Twitter once again, and Twitter says it plans to finalize the deal. But at least for now, the company stopped short of saying it would drop the lawsuit against Musk. Stay tuned. All right, we have much more news for you still ahead. But first, let's take a quick break for our sponsor, BetterHelp. I have faced plenty of times when things just don't seem to be going my way. And it's easy to get frustrated or feel like I'm giving up in those moments. But when I do find my own solution and even get creative if I have to, there's no better feeling. Well, a therapist can help in that process of becoming a better problem solver, no matter how big or small the task in front of you is. And perhaps even more importantly, a therapist can help you know how to deal with it even when there is no perfect solution. If you're thinking of giving therapy a try, BetterHelp is an option that is convenient, accessible, and affordable. It's entirely online. You can get matched with a therapist after filling out a brief survey, and then you can switch therapists anytime. When you want to be a better problem solver, therapy can get you there. Visit betterhelp.com/newsworthy today to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/newsworthy. The Nobel Prize in Physics has a new winner, or winners to be exact. A team of 3 physicists took home the prestigious honor for their work in quantum physics. They're American John Clauser, Frenchman Alain Aspect, and Anton Zeilinger from Austria. In basic terms, the trio managed to prove that tiny particles, like photons, could maintain a sort of connection to one another, even when split far apart. It's called quantum entanglement. For decades, it was only a theory. Even Albert Einstein thought it was fake, but these scientists proved it's real. Here's the kicker. Even though they proved it happens, they still can't explain why it happens. As one physicist put it, quote, parts of the universe, even those at great distances from each other, are connected, even though it's something so at odds with how we feel the world should be. The advanced technology could be used one day in super-fast quantum computers. Every year, 6 Nobel Prizes are awarded for groundbreaking contributions in various fields, including the Peace Prize, which will be announced on Friday. A huge computer chip factory will be built in New York in what will be the largest private investment in the state's history. One of the world's largest computer chip makers, Micron, just announced it'll invest $100 billion over the next 2 decades or more to build the largest semiconductor plant in the United States. The factory will be in upstate New York outside Syracuse. The project is expected to bring 50,000 jobs to the state in exchange for a couple $1 billion in tax credits. It's the biggest investment so far since Congress passed legislation over the summer known as the CHIPS Act. It essentially provides billions of dollars to encourage companies to build and expand computer chip factories in America. Congress and the Biden administration believe it's vital to have them closer to home since they're in so many things we use. Think phones, cars, computers, and more. There's been concern the U.S. is becoming too dependent on Asia to make these, both because of tensions with China and because of past supply chain issues. Other major chip makers are expanding in the U.S. as well, as the demand for these memory and data storage chips used in so much tech is expected to double by the end of the decade. Well, there is a new home run king, and his name is Aaron Judge. The Yankees outfielder hit his 62nd home run of the season, setting a new single-season home run record in the American League. Last month, Judge tied with fellow Yankee Roger Maris before breaking that record during last night's game. It was 61 years ago, in 1961, that Maris hit his 61st home run. Maris's son, Roger Maris Jr., who was there when Judge tied his father's record, congratulated Judge, calling him the clean home run king. The all-time Major League record is currently held by Barry Bonds, but some argue his shouldn't count since it was during the so-called steroid era of baseball. As for how much that ball that Judge hit on his 62nd home run this season could be worth, it's been estimated it could go for as much as $2 million. The world of country music has lost a legend. Singer Loretta Lynn, best known for her song Coal Miner's Daughter, has died. She was 90 years old. The hard life she lived with her family as a child fueled her inspiration for many of her most popular songs. She had a tough-as-nails attitude and was an outspoken believer in female empowerment. Lynn quickly became one of country music's most exciting and most controversial figures in the 1960s and 70s. One of her songs, called The Pill, a tune about benefits of birth control, was even banned from playing on a number of radio stations across the country at the time. As some music critics put it, quote, Loretta forever changed the notion of what a country girl singer should be or could be. Lynn was the very first female country artist to sell 500,000 copies of an album and achieve gold album status. She became the first country artist to appear on the cover of Newsweek magazine and was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom by former President Obama in 2013. Loretta Lynn's family says she passed away from natural causes at her home in Tennessee. She was working almost up to the day she died, though. It was just a year ago in 2021 when Lynn released her 50th studio album titled Still Woman Enough. She may be gone now, but don't expect new music from her to disappear anytime soon. That's right, Lynn's friends say she's recorded enough unreleased songs over the years to fill at least 10 new albums. Her legacy will live on in her music, as well as the countless other artists she's influenced. All right, that's it for the main news today. So now it's time for Work Wednesday, when we break down one interesting career or work-related news story every Wednesday. But first, this podcast is sponsored by ZocDoc. At this point in a lot of our lives, trying to fit in one more thing onto our calendars can feel like a game of Battleship or Tetris. And that can be especially true trying to align with your doctor's office. I've experienced it many times. I call to make an appointment, and then it's 3 or more months before I can get in at a time that works for both of us. And now that I have a kid, I have to figure that all out for his appointments too. Well, ZocDoc helps make it easier to find and book an appointment with a doctor that suits your needs and your schedule. And ZocDoc is free. It's a free app that shows you doctors who are patient-reviewed, take your insurance, and are available when you need them. I also appreciate that you can read verified patient reviews. Every month, millions of people use ZocDoc, so simply go to ZocDoc.com/newsworthy and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then start your search for a top-rated doctor today. Many are available within 24 hours. That's ZocDoc.com/newsworthy. ZocDoc.com/newsworthy. Okay, now back to Work Wednesday. What does each generation value most at work? The World Economic Forum recently broke it down, and here's what it found. Let's start with the youngest workers. So Gen Z includes workers up to 25 years old. They're more likely to put their well-being and mental health first. And according to a Deloitte survey, 77% of them say it's important for an organization's values to align with their own. Now for the largest generation in the U.S. workforce right now, millennials. Those are workers between 26 and 41 years old. Many of them are in family mode at the moment, so benefits like parental leave, health insurance, fertility funds, and overall flexibility matter. Student loan reimbursement also came up for them. Gen X is next, so workers ages 42 to 57. The World Economic Forum points to dependent care assistance for them, since many may be caring for children and parents at the same time. Baby boomers are 58 and up, and yes, many have already retired, but those still working are said to prioritize traditional benefits, health, vision, and dental benefits, and even pensions. So the World Economic Forum says traditional one-size-fits-all benefits packages may not be the best way to go for organizations anymore. And with today's technology, offering more flexible and customized benefits programs is possible. All right, thank you so much for joining us as part of your daily routine. We'll catch you up on more news to know tomorrow. Episodes are always available by 4 a.m. Until then, have a great day.